Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Shrimp Tank Charleston podcast. I'm your host, Eric Elkins of Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions, and we're in the Double E studios today. And we have the privilege to sit here with Stephen Swannick and John Gentile of ERC Today. And before we went to break, we were learning about ERC, Employee Retention Credit, and how this program is like too good to be true, guys, that companies can get just free money and shouldn't just assume that because they got PPP money that they're not eligible for this money. And so, before we went to break, Stephen, you were starting to talk about how companies potentially could go to your website, which is www.erctoday.com, and do an initial questionnaire to see potentially if they qualify. And there's different companies or different type of organizations or industries that are probably better fits than others or have a better chance potentially. And so I kind of wanted people to get a feel of what is a typical company need to look like to have a chance to get this? Because some companies automatically just have this perception, oh, I don't qualify. And I don't qualify because my CPA told me I don't qualify. Or my payroll company told me I don't qualify. Or I'm not a restaurant. Or I'm not this, I'm not that. And then just automatically are just leaving money out on the table. So give the world of the Shrimp Tank fans, what does that picture look like? And before I forget to say this, Stephen agreed and John agreed that if you reach out, whether it's through the web or via phone or via email to these guys, ERC Today, and you provide them either the Shrimp Tank, these are code words, guys, the Shrimp Tank, Double E, or Eric Elkins, if you say one of the three code words, you don't have to say them all, then you will have an incentive bonus added to your package of what you could get back from the government. So these guys are providing an incentive for any of my fans and listeners. So that's super nice. So I want to mention that, so take advantage of it. So thank you guys for agreeing to do that. But
our pleasure.
Enough with me talking because I don't know enough about it. Tell us what should these companies out there should be looking for to qualify?
Fantastic question, and it's a really long-winded answer. So I hope you will bear with me.
Stay with us, guys. I know you just saw this and are now turning off the video. Don't turn it off yet. Just listen. Especially if you're a business owner, you need to stop and listen to what he's about to say. Go.
Let me know if John starts nodding off, and I'll elbow. So the ERC program is now really two programs that run in parallel. There's the 2020 version and the 2021 version. So the 2020 version was the one that obviously came out last year, and it's got a series of qualifying criteria. The first is you have to issue a formal payroll. So you got to have W-2s to your people. You got to file 941s. So 1099 contractors are sadly out. The next qualifying criteria is based on size. So you look at your average full-time employees in 2019, and you have to have had less than 100 of them. Now, note full-time, that does not include part-time employees, so you could have 99 full-timers and 999 part-timers, and you're still in. Now, that gets drawn out across IRS control groups, and there's aggregation criteria, so there are wrinkles to all of this, which is one of the reasons why you should probably be talking to us. But at a high level, that's the secondary criteria. The final criteria is...
So less than 100.
Correct.
W-2.
Correct. And the final criteria is one of, you have to meet A or B. And this is where most people get hung up because they hear these and they're like, oh, I don't meet those. Well, the key is that it's an or statement, not an and. So you only have to meet one of the following two. The first is a reduction in business receipts of 50% for a quarter. So what does that mean? In Q2 19, you billed $100,000. In Q2 20, you billed less than $50,000. Boom, you qualify for that quarter.
He will drop the mic during the program. Just stay tuned for that part.
What's the button where we say boom? I'll just
We'll put that into the special effects.
I'll drop the mic because he forgot something.
Yeah, there we go. So that's a way that any industry can qualify if you struggled. But the real opportunity I see is the secondary qualifier, which is a full or partial government shutdown, which is a really fancy way of saying a government order put a hurting on your business. What can that be?
This is an either or between those two.
It's an or. So your revenue could have gone up. Is that your thunder that I just stole?
Nope.
Okay, good. I'm excited. So a government order impacted your business somehow. So what does that mean? Well, for most businesses in the country, there was a stay-at-home order in place last spring. So if you were prohibited from going to work, you now qualify for that period. But it gets more nuanced than that. It includes a capacity limitation. So your restaurant, your bar, your gym, your nail salon has not been able to have 100% capacity. You qualify for the entire duration. And that's the real aha moment in this. Is certain industries, you can tell they tailored the legislation to really help those that were hurt the most. So I would say 99.9% of restaurants, bars, gyms, nail salons in this country qualify, regardless of how well they did. Other industries that you're going to see criteria met, hotels, churches,
law firms.
There we go. The courts were closed. You couldn't litigate. Law firms we're seeing.
What about medical practices?
Medical practices are tough because as an essential service, they were not as generally shut down, but
Physical therapy.
Physical therapists, dentists, somewhat of the more optional or things you could at least postpone. A lot, we know.
What about plastic surgeons?
I'd say optional surgeries that people deferred, their revenue probably cratered.
I don't look like this without the plastic surgery. So go. So
That's
go
correct.
Ahead.
On John's behalf, can I get some recommendations for him?
Okay. So at the end of the day, no, I just want to make sure.
Eric, can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Because he forgot something that's critical.
I usually do.
And he always does.
That's why he's the sales guy.
The terminated employees too.
That's true. It's not just your active employee base. John, brilliant. See? That he's not just Ed McMahon, gang. Mic drop button.
So let me just use an example. So if my company, in my situation we said you don't need to don't come to work, and we were told stay at home. I don't know if it was government mandated or not. We just came with that concept that we weren't going to go to work. If we did well each quarter from 19 to 20, we didn't have a loss of 50%. We still potentially do qualify because we probably weren't. Insurance financial services, I don't think was considered essential to be open, was it?
It's tough. And
is it by state or is it?
It's very jurisdiction specific. So we would have to go pull the executive orders for your state, potentially your county or your city, and we'd have to compare that against their various carve-outs for. There's one for teleworking, and that's what makes it such a challenge for, we've tried for a bunch of insurance brokers, and that's been, we've got a lower success rate for that. So that's why it gets very industry specific, very jurisdiction specific. I can tell you somebody in Florida is probably going to have a different answer than somebody in California for reasons that everyone knows.
All right, so that leads me into something that I think is important because I have had, conversations with my clients and said, hey, have you guys looked at this ERC opportunity? And they're like, yeah, my CPA is working on it. And then when I start peeling that onion back and asking questions, or even I've had conversations with other CPAs about it, I get so many different answers here that I don't really know. And a lot of the time, the company is just going to listen to that confidant CPA and say, well, they said that we don't qualify or they're working on it. To me, this is another reason why the whole niche of what you're doing is so special, because this is all you guys are doing. You know these, and from a state perspective, that's a whole nother problem to be able to understand state to state to state and to navigate through that. So I'm curious, am I right that there's some bad information going out there?
There's tons of misinformation, and I think that's a good opportunity for John to because he's out there talking to folks a lot more than I am, and I want him to share that experience. But, being a CPA, having a traditional CPA firm, I know that trusted advisor relationship is really important, and we're not trying to cut out CPAs. I don't want my industry to be cut out, but I look at it as, would you go to your primary care physician for brain surgery? We have made ourselves the experts in this, and does your CPA really want to spend the weeks and months to become that expert when they might only have 2 or 3 clients?
It's a great point.
And we have dozens of CPAs that are referring their business to us because they know that we can do a better job for their clients than they can. John, why don't you tell everyone your experience out there talking to people? How many people do you talk to that even have heard of this? What kind of answers are you getting?
No one knows about it. I mean, last month alone on Google, which runs 91% of the traffic on the internet in the U.S.
What is the name of the company?
Google.
Oh.
I think you recognize them.
Oh.
Is that like Bing?
Maybe.
I use Yahoo, but go ahead.
Yeah, I do too, Eric. I thought we had something going there.
I have to keep this going, because we're talking about ERCs, so go ahead.
No.
No.
Last month alone, only on Google, there was only 40,000 searches for employee retention tax credit or employee retention credit on the entire internet.
Are you kidding me?
No.
In a country with over 350 million people.
40,000 searches, which is nothing.
I probably got 40,000 searches last month.
I did 2,000 myself.
That explains why so many of them came from Charleston.
Point well taken.
To give you a comparison, 8 million searches were done for payroll.
Yeah. Guys, this is easy found money potentially to get, and you can make it so easy by just going to the website, www.erctoday.com, or they could just pick up the phone and call you guys if they want, correct? I mean, what's the best number to reach you guys at?
John, what's your cell phone number? 833-WANT-ERC.
833-WANT-ERC. I don't know what digits that is, but 833-WANT-ERC.
I'm going to make a mental note to memorize those digits.
Yeah, but okay. So
you can see them on our billboards.
And so one of the things I wanted you to touch upon is another rebuttal that I hear people get when I bring this up to them, making them aware of friends that own companies, et cetera, is they'll go, I'm not going to use that company you're talking about because my payroll company and my CPA, they're not charging me. They're doing it for me themselves. Tell how does y'all's program work in regards to especially taking advantage of the incentive by using Shrimp Tank, Double E, Eric Elkins as potential bonus credits toward their reimbursement?
I think the answer to that comes back to so much of the misconception on what this program is. I guarantee you payroll companies cannot do this. They can file the physical form by which you claim the credit. They absolutely can. It's amending a payroll tax return. That's what their company does. But the payroll companies cannot calculate your credit because they do not have the information. There are so many moving pieces to this. There are disqualifications for family members. There are the aggregated group criteria. There are, what was the one I was thinking? Oh, the PPP loans. That is a huge interactive portion of this. You can apply, you can use both programs, but you can't spend the same dollar in both places. So there's an interaction there. Payroll companies do not know any of those facts about your company. So when a payroll company says, oh yeah, we can do that for you, the next question is, what do you want to claim? So a payroll company cannot do this. And we talked to a prospect 2 weeks ago, John, and they said, oh yeah, our payroll company turned it on. And I was like, what do you mean they turned it on? And they said, yeah, we had a brief conversation and they're doing the credit for us. And I asked some follow-up questions and I got blank stares and silence. And I guarantee you that company is now at audit risk.
Yeah. Because and I think you said it really perfect and eloquently, which was if you're going to have brain surgery, why are you going to your general practitioner who says they can do it when they really haven't studied that? They're a doctor, but they really haven't studied it. And I think everyone's got to pay. So when it comes, if I come to you today and I qualify, and let's just say I qualify for $50,000 for my company, what do I pay you? So, what are y'all going to charge me to do that?
So our fee is a percentage of the credit received. So we are not taking money unless you're getting paid. We earn it by getting you paid.
So so correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys tell me that it looks like you're going to qualify from the preliminary pre-work done, then you guys are pretty confident we're going to get money from the government because you would be doing this for nearly for free almost.
Yeah, the IRS is a very technical organization, and that's why when you do your personal tax return, you might make mistakes. Some people might actually cheat. The IRS gives you what you claim. If there's errors or mistakes, that's uncovered on the 1 to 3% of people that ever get audited. It's the similar process in the business world. It's a similar process with tax credits. We calculate this for you with our expertise, and what we call them an audit-proof set of work papers. So if you do get questioned, we say, all right, here you go. Here's why we did what you told us to do, and please go away, Mr. IRS investigator. But generally, if we've gotten that far, it's because we're certain you're going to get paid.
We don't get paid till they get paid.
Exactly. We're willing to stick we got salaries to pay. We got wives to keep in high cotton, hopefully anyway. So yeah, we believe in it enough that we're taking that risk.
Yeah. So guys, we're sitting here talking to Steven Swannick, and am I saying it wrong again?
There's a little bit of a pause there.
I'm so nervous saying your last name for some reason.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Eric. We'll try to.
Well, he's in the room with some big people, so it's fine.
And John Gentile, I like to emphasize the Gentile, the Italian, I like to call John the Italian stallion, from ERC Today, www.ERC Today, or you can call them at 833-WANT-ERC. And I'm your host, Eric Elkins of Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions, and I wanted these guys on the show because this is such a phenomenal opportunity for companies to take advantage of. And I know that there's companies out there that are going to watch this saying, I'm already started the application, I've already done this, and I'm trying to tell you guys, you might be fortunate that the folks that you're working with did do it correctly. But if you touch base, I would recommend you touch base with that firm that you're working with and see where they're at on that application process. Because if you're not getting clear-cut answers on it, they're probably not doing anything because they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing right now. And if that's the boat that you're in, I wouldn't sit around and wait. I would pick up the phone and call these guys, because to me, it sounds like you guys are the prescription that makes everyone's life easier. And on top of it, you're not charging me. You're just going to take a cut, which is fair. You should profit. You should make a profit on it. But you should also remember that you should make a little bit less profit if the folks call you and say Shrimp Tank, Double E, or Eric Elkins. It's that simple. One of those are the three things that you could get a discount off of that amount of money that they take. But you guys don't even take a lot of money. I think you should take more money for all the work that you're doing for the clients that I've sent you. So, in going back over this, is there anything else that you guys think to yourself and go, here's just kind of the final last three things that I want to mention, that if people are on the fence or just like, I don't even want to do it. I just got my second PPP loan. I don't even feel like doing that now, because that was such a horrible experience. I know, because I've gotten the PPP, and and just so everybody knows, my experience getting the PPP loan was so god awful that I have left bank blank because of the PPP. That's how much it was so awful to me to deal with my bank that I left them and have migrated to another bank because of it. So I wish there was a ERC today for PPP, because I would have paid someone to help me, because it was so painful to deal with bank X. Those are the name of the bank.
Eric, there's one thing I wanted to point out. I want Stephen to go into this because we don't talk about it enough, and we feel our process is second to none. The way we do it, how quick we do it. we put together an amazing company in a very short period of time, and our process is second to none. And I think, Stephen, you need to talk about.
Yeah, I guess I hate to brag, but I feel like
we'll do it. Do it because right. I've seen you.
Twist my arm.
I tell him all the time he's a CPA. He needs to start selling more.
We're doing this faster than anyone in the country, and I'm absolutely certain of it because I've seen how some of the other people are doing it, and they're clearly doing it, quote unquote, on paper. We've cracked the code, so to speak, on how to do this fast, and it's because to say I have a tech background is a little bit of an exaggeration. I wrote some code back in college, but
that's some bragging right there.
Exactly. Yeah, I
He's not your typical CPA, trust me.
Yeah, I could make Pac-Man on C++ 20 years ago. It's not that impressive. But
yeah, don't repeat that.
Can you edit this into the show? No.
Yeah, we'll get that pushed out because that just ruined the opportunity for ERC.
Dang. So I feel like applying that kind of, that methodical calculation style. We're not just putting a ledger together and doing, this employee times 5,000 equals. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, and when you look at it programmatically and you distill, 100,000 data points into the 50 or so that really matter, then you can turn it into an assembly line, and that's why we can talk to somebody on Monday, get their data on Tuesday, and have them instead of ready to file returns on Wednesday or Thursday. Now they're not all that fast, but that's because we don't always have the data, and that's why certain partners are great fits for us where they can feed that data to us, and that might actually be a segue to some things John's been working into that can make us even faster and more efficient.
I've been feeling like a